Hello everybody, I'm happy to see you today. My name is Ina and today I'm providing you a webinar from Green Forest. The title of it is Passive Voice. Today we will discuss with you passive voice about connected with present and past simple tenses only, just to focus on the basic rules and on everything that you need to start using passive voice, let's say. And I would like to begin with you our conversation with questions. Do you like quizzes? Do you like when somebody asks you, do you know who painted Mona Lisa? Or do you know who Mona Lisa was painted by? Do you know the answers or not? Now I'd like to provide you, I'd like to show you one dialogue where you can see such type of conversation, and while you look at it, I will comment and show you where passive voice is used in this dialogue. So just a sec, I will open my file and I will start. So what we have here a scene. Ben is on TV quiz show. Stuart, the host, is asking questions. Welcome back to A Thirst for Knowledge. Ben, here you are. 3 questions. First, in which country are emus found? Emus, these are such animals. They are nice and look like ostriches, as for me. Stuart, emus are found in Australia. That's right. Very easy. Question 2. Who was the opera Madame Butterfly composed by? That's a tough one. Well, I don't think that it's really tough one, but he thought that it is. Was it composed by Tchaikovsky? I'm sorry, it was actually composed by Puccini. Oh yes, I knew that. Well, I doubt that. And the last one, and for the final question, in which century was the Mona Lisa painted? I'm not sure. Can I have a moment to think? So let's look at the phrases that are used here and that are used in passive voice. The first one is the first phrase, in which country are emus found? This is a passive question in passive voice, present simple form. Emus are found, this is the answer. The next one, who was the opera Madame Butterfly composed by? This is the second example of passive. Also question, and the next phrase, was it composed by Tchaikovsky? Again, passive. It was actually composed by Puccini. We have here the answer, also in passive voice. And the last one is, in which century was Mona Lisa painted? This is also passive voice, past simple form. Let's make a short quiz with you. Let's look at the next task. You can see here some beginning of the sentence, the middle of the sentence. Even if you don't passive voice, don't worry, it's very easy. You need to match these 3 forms. I hope you like quizzes and it will be not very difficult for you. Just think, you don't need to write anything, just think, and then I will tell you the answers. So let's look at the answers. The first one is the Sistine Chapel we have here was painted by Michelangelo in Italy, in Rome actually. The Da Vinci Code, this is a book, was written by Dan Brown. It used to be famous a few years ago, I suppose. The electric light bulb was invented by Thomas Edison. Hey Jude, it's a very famous song, I think everybody knows that, was sung by the Beatles. And the last one, penguins, such animals, are found in Antarctica. That's the answer. Now let's look at our sentences and let's look how we form with you passive voice. The formation of passive voice is very, very simple. It's like math. You just remember formula and you use it. So first of all, we use our subject. The subject must be passive. So it's not actually the person who does the action, but what kind of object is used in this action, and this is our subject. For example, we have here, hey Jude, it's a song, or penguins. They are not active, they are found. The song is written. So this is our passive object. After that, we use the verb to be. And the verb to be is used in different tenses. We can use it in present simple or past simple. I will show you a little bit later how it is formed. And after the verb to be, we need to use past participle. I will write you just PP and explain you what it is. If it is a regular verb, sorry, it's R actually. If it's regular verb, we just use ed. If it is irregular one, we use the third form of it. I hope you have all learned irregular verbs, and you know that the third form, for example, we have go, went, gone. So gone, this is the third form of irregular verb go. Let's look at passive voice in present simple. How to form passive voice in present simple. For example, we can take one sentence. The car is, this is our to be in present simple. Sorry, I will erase it. The car is washed, let's say every day. This is our passive voice construction. The car doesn't do this by itself, it's not that smart. There is somebody who does that. But it's not important who does the action. Important that we have that somebody does this for us, or that the car is clean now. So we focus more on the car, that it is washed, and not who does that, Tom or my dad or me. If we want to form it in past form, in past simple, we just say the car was washed. For example, yesterday, we can say. So, and again, we have here past simple form. I will write you here present and past. This is present and this is past. This is if we use regular verb. If we use irregular verb, we will, I can just delete it, erase it and show you. And for example, the cars, we can say plural, then are stolen. Well, some number of cars are stolen in the world every day, I suppose. So steal, stole, stolen. This is irregular verb, and we use past participle, the third form. Or the cars were stolen. This is plural form. Yesterday, like 3 cars were stolen yesterday, unfortunately. This is how the passive voice is formed in present simple and past simple. We can use the verb to be in present simple is or are, in past simple was or were. If the action is used with us, something like I am taught, then we can use am, but it's not that common. So try to remember at least is and are for present simple and was and were for past simple. Let's talk about usage, when actually we need to use passive voice. Maybe we don't need it. Well, to tell you the truth, our brain thinks that we don't need it. Unfortunately, passive voice is not that common in Ukrainian or in Russian. That's why when we hear passive voice, we just think, why I can't use just active voice? And maybe you are right, but passive in English is much more in common than in Russian or Ukrainian. That's why you have to know it and you have to use it. The first one, I will show you just simple usage that I think that it's necessary to know. The first rule that you need to know for using passive voice, this is when our doer, this is the person who does the action, when the doer is unimportant. Unimportant. We think that it's not that important to say who does the action. For example, the book was published last year. Okay. We think that it's not important. Actually, we know the publisher or we know the publishing house and we know who did that. But we think it's not important. Important that it was really published and it happened last year. That's it. The second rule, which is also quite important when our doer is unknown. We don't know who did that. Like you come home and they say, "Oh, look." This is present perfect. Okay. For example, every day you come to the office and you say, "Oh, look, the office is cleaned, or the office is washed, or the windows are washed." It could be cool to have windows washed every day. So the windows are washed every day in your office. Can you imagine that? So this is the doer is unknown. There is some magical guy who comes every night and he washes your windows. So, and you don't know who does that. Well, of course, this is more positive. Usually we use such examples, some kind of negative examples, like the cars are stolen. We don't know who does that action, some, I don't know, some thieves or some teenagers who just want to fool around. So the doer is unknown. That's the most important thing. Also, passive voice is used for formal style, but I guess you will need to know this a little bit later when you get like intermediate or upper intermediate level. Anyway, keep it in mind. I will write that down. Formal style. When you write a report or when you need to use like business correspondence, then you can use passive voice in your emails. For example, you cannot write, "I think that I'm a very great person and I have conducted a conference." You need to write, "The conference was conducted in May in 2015. This will be this sounds much better than just, "I did that." So this is our formal style. Let's practice a little bit with you. Now you will see a few exercises. The first one is going to be quite easy. You just need to choose whether this is passive or active. To conduct this exercise correctly, you need to remember that our subject is passive. The person or the thing that is used as the subject must be passive. It doesn't do anything. Now let's look at the answers. You will see now. You will see now the answers. They are highlighted. You can see in yellow. So the first one we have here is employed, was driven, isn't produced, is produced, and produces. Actually, this paragraph I wrote a little bit, well, it turned out a little bit crazy, but I thought like, he's from Finland, where coffee isn't produced, but anyway, it is produced in Brazil. I just wanted to use passive voice, that's it. The next one we have here with you, Ala, who is a newsreader, and you can see here the answer. Her dog is taken, it cannot take himself to the car. She drives because she is active, she drives in the car. The next one, the cars are designed, and her teacher, in the evening, she is usually taken for dinner by her teacher. Like he invites her over and they go out somewhere. The last one is about Harrison Ford. He acts, he is active in this case. He lives and he works, also active voice we have here. He lives in a house that was built. Like the house is passive in this case. He has a girlfriend, and the drinks where she works are served there. And the last one about her shoes, they are made in Italy. Now I think we will do this exercise together. You will be shown some sentences and answers to them as well. And I would like to discuss with you them how to transform, this is what students quite often ask me, how to transform active voice into passive voice. I will help you out with that. I will comment, and I hope it will be easy for you. So someone broke this mirror last night. We have here someone. We don't know who did the action. So the mirror was broken last night. You know that we need to use by, but it's not wise. It's not clever to use by someone. Who's this someone? Is this information really important? I don't think so. So we just say the mirror was broken last night. The doer is unknown. Someone washes the towels in the hotel every day. Again, we don't know who does the action. The towels in the hotel are washed because it's plural every day. The next one. Someone built the house 10 years ago. The house was built. Passive voice, to be in past simple was. They grow this fruit in very hot countries. This fruit is grown. This is singular. That's why we have is, and grown is irregular verb. They pay the office workers weekly. The office workers are paid. They are passive. They get the money. They don't pay to anybody. Someone bought all this cheese in France. All this cheese was bought in France. So we transform the cheese is passive and it was bought by someone. And again, we don't say by who. So don't write this by someone or by him, by her. It's not relevant information. Someone found Emily's bike. Emily's bike, passive, was found. Someone visits most of the prisoners. Most of the prisoners are visited. Someone cleans the car every week. The car is cleaned every week. This is actually the example that we had with you. They play a lot of sport on the beach. We don't know who are they, so we can say just a lot of sport is played on the beach, like an advertisement or something. Someone stole all my best jewelry. All my best jewelry was stolen. Jewelry is uncountable, that's why we say was, not where. And actually the doer is unknown. It was some kind of thief and we don't know who did that. They carried the children all the way home. The children were carried all the way home. If you are a parent, you know that the children sometimes like to be carried around. So children didn't walk by themselves, they were passive. Parents or somebody else, I hope not somebody else, but parents carried them. Someone watches the palace 24 hours a day. The palace is watched. The doer is not important. Actually, it's quite obvious that this is some kind of security or the guard who does that, but it's not important. We want to emphasize that it is watched 24 hours a day. They leave the grapes to dry in the sun. The grapes are left to dry in the sun. This is, we have here the last sentence, right? Yes. Yes. We can stop. Okay, I'm getting back. Fine. So one more time about passive voice. The main point what we want to emphasize using it, that our subject is passive. It doesn't do anything. The action is done over it. Somebody does that action. Who does the action is not important or is unknown, or we want to keep it a secret because it's a formal style, or we just want to keep it a secret. I hope you understood and you figure out how to use passive voice. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
There is one question, but I don't understand the meaning.
Okay.
The question is what version this is. Version of what? Probably version of passive voice?
Yeah, probably yes. Well, in English, there is passive voice and there is active voice. If active voice, that means that the person who does the action is active, like I clean my room. If it's passive voice, that means that the room is cleaned. And I don't want to say who does that, or I think it's not important, or I don't know who does that. So this is passive voice. We have two versions, if it's a version you are asking about.
Simple, yes, present and past.
Yes, this is what I wrote over here. We have present simple, the cars are stolen, and past simple, the cars were stolen. Well, I can write here simple, but actually I mentioned that while I was explaining. Are there more questions? No? Okay. Fine. So I would like you now to think, quite typical for me, to ask you a few questions if you don't have any for me. The first one, think please, who cooked your breakfast? So who was your breakfast cooked by, let's say? By your mom, by you, by your wife, or by your husband, or maybe by your child. So this is past simple. It was yesterday or it was today in the morning. And the answer is my breakfast was cooked. Actually, my breakfast was cooked by me. So, but I think it's not important. So my breakfast was cooked, and at 8 o'clock, I was happy to get it. Or you can think about present tense. For example, the examples that I told you about, who cleans your room? You do that. Your mom does that. I don't know. Your wife does that, or there is a cleaning lady who comes and cleans it. So the room is cleaned by my mom, by my sister, or just the room is cleaned once a month. Well, this is quite rarely. The room is cleaned twice a week, for example, or 3 times a week. This is our present simple form. That's it for today. If you want to know more about passive voice, you can just Google or surf the net, and I'm sure you will find a lot of information. I told you just the basic information about passive voice, just to motivate you to start using it, because it's, well, it's a big part of English. Thank you very much for your time. Have a nice evening. See you.